Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the inaugural episode of the Squared Circle Sit Down. I am your host, the Capo regime of podcasting, Chris. With me today, I have one half of the greatest independent wrestling tag team of all time.
Oh
He
boy.
is
Okay.
the best technical wrestler on the independent circuit today. And I don't
Oh
say
boy.
that as my opinion, it is just straight up fact. But more
I like it.
importantly, he is a Kit Kat connoisseur
I am.
and the king of the cheat day. None other than Anthony Henry. Anthony, what's going on, man?
I don't know. That was a fine introduction. I was taken aback by all of those positive comments that you threw my way, but I appreciate it. It's going well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It is awesome to have you on as the first episode. We were just talking beforehand. It is fun to make friends through podcasting, and you are one of the closest friends I have made through podcasting. Someone that was one of our first interviews when I was with my previous show, and we have stayed in touch really straight through the whole time throughout your crazy run that you've had over the last 2 years. And the fact that you took the time to stay in touch with me meant the world to me. And we got a lot to talk about, man. I'm very excited, but I got to start off with what's in the cabinets, because
What's in the cabinet?
you got some crazy food concoctions going on. What cereal have you been on lately? Because we
Uh,
we got to talk cereal to start, because
yeah,
that's where we got to go.
yeah. No. I've kind of chilled out a little bit. I think maybe since the last time we talked. Um, I mean, I'm still on it. I still do my thing with the foods, but probably not as bad as I used to. Cereal has not been too much of a concern. Although there's been some good things that have come out, like that I've tried at least, like the apple pie toast crunch is phenomenal. Um, that's actually probably like my favorite one. It's like a new cereal, so that one's really good. I did try the new Eggo waffle like Pop Tarts. Those are okay. Like it's a Pop Tart, if you like Pop Tarts, but it's very much the maple syrup taste to it. So that's pretty on point. Um, nah, man, it's for me, the food has been more of the same as far as like I've had like a lot of little vacations and trips and stuff, and that's usually where it's gone down. Like we had a really fun one I can get more in depth about a couple weeks ago during the festival weekend. We had a lot of different foods that we partaked in, my friends and I.
That sounds like
So
an
I
adventure.
can get in depth on that, but like I'll wait to like hear your questions. I don't want to go out on a tangent about food already.
Listen, we can go right there, and then we can come back towards reality. But you know, the Restival is a great place to start, because I mean you tangled with one of my closest friends and little sisters
Ah,
out there. Masha, she was supposed to tell you I said what's up. I don't know
she
if
did
she
not. I
did.
don't think she did. I don't think she did.
I'm gonna have to get
So
on her.
you got to call her out on that.
I'm definitely going to, because she is genuinely like my little sister. Both New York people, and another one that is very close. She came with me to a redacted show, because she's obviously signed with somewhere that she
Yeah,
probably shouldn't have gone to said show with me, for my birthday. We sat in a nice little suite, so hood
gotcha.
hood up. But it was kind of fun knowing that we were doing something that we shouldn't have been doing. It always makes it that much more fun. But yeah, she's
Right.
like my little sister, and that match was absolutely incredible. So why don't we talk a little bit about that match first of all, and
Yeah. So I
then we'll
mean,
talk about the fun eating afterwards.
yeah. So that that match happening was actually not planned, of course. The original plan was for me to be wrestling Alex Shelley on that show, which for me, everybody kind of knows my relationship with Alex Shelley, and also how I guess feel how I feel about him as a performer, and kind of look up to him in a lot of ways. And so I was looking forward to that match. So it was gonna it was a situation that was rough because I found out like 2 3 days before that match wasn't happening, and they were looking for a replacement. And I guess out of all the people that they could possibly replace with, she was the best choice for sure. You know, um, totally different match than I would have had with Alex Shelley, of course. And actually, honestly, that was like I've been in the ring with females before, but I've never actually had like a real like intergender match. So in a lot of ways, I guess you kind of say that was my first intergender match as well. And no, I think she's very talented. She was very cool, and she didn't complain one bit about anything that happened in the match. And then like tough as nails. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
She's very good.
she's hard hitting for sure. She's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah,
She,
yeah. I told Drake that her Shining Wizard was better than his because she nailed me with it. But not like it was a fun match. It was a good match. I think we weren't like given position wise on the card. We weren't given like we weren't put in a position to like go out there and have like a main event caliber match or anything. This just not wasn't our position on the card. But I thought it was very good and it was fun for what it was. So I'd like to do it again sometime maybe.
See, I thought it kind of stole the show. Obviously, taking it, I'm biased as all hell. You know, the two of you are my
It's okay to be a little biased.
two of you are my two of my closest friends in wrestling, and the two of the people I talk to the most. But it was just it was so clean and crisp that you know you couldn't tell that it was your first intergender match at all.
Oh, well, my outlook on it was she's a professional wrestler. I'm a professional wrestler. We're gonna go professional wrestle, and there nothing changes. I'm gonna go out there and do what I always do. So
And I think that needs to be kind of the attitude with intergender wrestling. And I think that's where the female perspective is on intergender wrestling is that they are professional wrestlers and it is professional wrestling. And
sure,
having talked
yeah,
to so many that that's I think that's the attitude they want to hear, and
yeah,
especially Masha,
yeah.
watching her go,
But it's like okay, so on the topic of intergender wrestling is like I'm a proponent of wrestling in general, right? But I think sometimes it's easy to like change the narrative on these matches, and I don't understand, right? Sometimes, so I think like with Masha, it worked out perfectly the way we did it, um, and that's the way I would wrestle anybody uh, that's similar in size to me or smaller than me for sure. But I think sometimes it does get thrown out of context where it's like, oh, you know, we're just gonna wrestle like they could do anything to me, which to me it is not a matter of like gender. It's a matter of like telling the story appropriately within the confines of what you have. And what you have is a size difference, what you have is whatever character differences, right? So I think there's a lot of great intergender matches that I've seen. I just think that uh, there should be sometimes more um, importance placed on the story that they're telling in those
absolutely.
matches.
And you know what, I see that a lot with all independent wrestling too.
Well, for sure, yeah. I guess you could say that. Like, it's just you know, it's like, oh, let's just go out and you know do whatever we can. And I get it. It's like, hey, we want to prove like, and then sometimes I maybe it stands out in intergender matches sometimes to me because it's like almost like let's do everything that we possibly can to show what we can do. It's like I get it, you can do it. You're very talented, but like sometimes it's just like tell the story too, which, like you said, I mean that's also, I guess that's also very apparent just in general. So
Yeah, I mean, look, it obviously will stand out more in an intergender match, but I've seen
for sure,
some matches when you see a guy that's 5'3", 130 pounds soaking wet go in there with
exactly.
a 6'8" guy that's maybe a Logan Creed size, and
Yeah,
you're going, come on, man. Like,
And
well,
some people don't get that, and that's fine. It's like it's again, it's professional wrestling. It's subjective. You can like what you like, and if you like that, like if you want to completely 100% suspend your belief or whatever, like then you can do that and not worry about the size difference, and it can be whatever you want it to be, and that's fine too. It's just
yeah,
not my cup of tea.
exactly. And I think we think along the same lines. I like it to be somewhat in that believable range where it's like, all right, there's a fight going on, and I
Yeah,
like that hard hitting technical style that somebody like you or somebody like Masha brings. That her style is believable. Like,
yeah, no, it
she
is.
she
And
hits, and you know she
when she
hits.
hits me, yeah, when she hit me, it's like you're not gonna not believe it. It's like she hit me, so that's what you need, and in those type of matches, especially with someone like me, because it's just I'm very much I'm aggressive, and I'm just kind of a bully when I'm in the ring a lot of times. So she was the perfect counterpoint to that.
Absolutely. Now it looks like you've bulked up a little bit, and I know it's something you've wanted to do a little bit, just following your Twitter, you know. How much have you changed your outlook in the gym and kind of taken that philosophy to kind of bulk your physique up a little bit?
I don't know that I've necessarily like changed my philosophy in the gym. It's more like changing my philosophy in life when it comes to how I look, or at least attempting to, because it's always a battle, especially when you're half naked and in front of a bunch of people every weekend. The battle is mental and like trying to fight the urge to want to have abs all the time and things like that. But like, I mean, the honest truth of it is, if I spent way too much time cutting down and like chasing after this look that I thought that I needed to have for professional wrestling, and it's done a lot to me mentally, and that's something a lot of people don't factor into these things. Is like when you're dieting like that, and you so hyper focus on one part of your life that it can overtake you sometimes, and you know there's something to having balance in life and being able to enjoy times with your friends and family, and that includes like having foods, not being the weirdo that's over there with the salad. So yeah, I've just kind of like been way more relaxed. I mean, I still kind of pay attention to things, of course, but bulking was gaining mass was something that I really have wanted to do for a long time, but just didn't want to because of the pressure of looking a certain way. I've been lucky enough that I've done it in a way where I haven't actually still look pretty decent, in my opinion. And I've gained, I don't know, somewhere around 20 something pounds. So I'm round about 192 in the mornings now. And when I was with that company, I was at my lowest. I was like 165.
Jesus,
So
wow. I
big
mean,
difference.
it definitely is, and I mean, you do look fantastic still. You
Thank
look
you.
yoked up. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you look in that
Well,
match. You looked huge.
thank you. I mean, that's like, and that's also like part of the deal too. Is like, it's fitness has always been something that's really important to me, and especially like the part of it, the bodybuilding part of it, if you will. I'm really into that, and um, and part of that is like, hey, if you want to get to a certain look, you have to add muscle, and when you add muscle, you're going to add fat as well. That's inevitable. You can't add pure muscle. It's just not, unless you're on all the gas. Um, it's not going to happen. So you just have to accept the fact that you're going to gain a little bit of fat, and that's the tough part to get over. But um, slowly but surely, we're getting there. So when I do cut up again, when I decide to do that, hopefully, right, the idea is that I'll be much bigger at that same level of conditioning. Yeah, when I was 165, for example, but I'll be much bigger. I'll have more muscle.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So speaking of the cutting down, I think this is a good opportunity to kind of put in our kind of story. When we first met, I think people aren't going to know, but we were both in kind of a rough spot in both our lives. You kind of didn't know where you were going with wrestling, and I was I was coming off getting fired from football. I was at my biggest. I was at 355 pounds, and found out I couldn't have children, and was just an absolute mess. Like us starting the podcast was really kind of, in a lot of ways, saved my life. And to that, I still owe Greg a lot. Uh, but something in our conversation clicked. Uh, Realizing that, you know, I had stuff in common with people that I wouldn't have expected to have in common. That, like everybody has struggles and everybody can deal with them. And something in our discussion inspired me to kind of get my shit together, for lack of better terms. Uh, and slowly but surely, and you've been a huge advocate for me, and always constantly commending me, whether it be publicly or privately. You've always given me a ton of encouragement. But over the course of the last, year and a half, I've lost 125 pounds, and I give you a ton of that credit, man, because
That's
somewhere in
wild.
that conversation, I changed,
That's
and
wild.
it really had a ton to do with the connection that we made, and you inspired me. And I told JD that too when he and I spoke on Twitter, that like that you had a hard time when we were just talking on Twitter. You didn't want to take the credit, and I appreciate that you didn't want to take the credit. But I'm gonna straight up give you the credit here in a public setting. That you helped me a lot, man. When I say you're my friend, like you're my friend, man, and I'll do whatever I can to help and support you in your career. But on a personal level, man, like you helped me more than I can ever truly tell you. Like
Hey,
my wife, my son, and I will always owe you a debt of gratitude, man. So thank you.
that's that's a crazy story, and like that's really cool because I don't get that all the time, but like you know, going through things, we all go through things like you said, and that's part of life. But having people that actually can help you and offer some sort of help and guidance that actually can change your life or the direction your life is going. That's crazy, and that's a crazy amount of power, and to have been able to do that, crazy to me. Um, it's like honestly, other than like professional wrestling, like that's kind of what I've dedicated my entire life to is this fitness and health and wellness, and just like uh, the idea that like this stuff is important, and especially in the longevity of somebody's life. And so many people don't realize it, you know. But it's very important. And the fact that you lost over 125 pounds, that man, that's a lot of work, and that's something you should be really proud of because that's not easy. It's not easy one to get started. It's not easy to continue that process because there's all kinds of factors that are gonna be in your way. All kinds of things that are gonna contribute to wanting to say hell with it and stop and just go back to old habits. So you can thank me, but like thank yourself, man, because that's you did all the work. Honestly, like that's you. Be proud of yourself.
Yeah, I'm still going. I still got another 30 or 40 that I want to lose, so I'm gonna keep it
Hey, you
going.
got it. You already did the hard part. 125 inch. The rest is cake.
Yeah, I mean the hurdles are still there, man. You know the plateaus get there, and they're
Of
frustrating,
course.
but it, it's funny. You wind up going to the doctors that are like, well, you've already think about where you are. Like if you stop now, you're good, and it's like, dude, shut up. Like why am I gonna stop now? Like nah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep pushing myself. Uh,
for sure. Yeah.
and look, obviously, I have the best motivating factor in the world, my son. And
Exactly. That does a lot for you. Did a lot for me when I had my kids. So
seeing him and just being like, nope, I'm gonna be around for as long as I possibly can, knowing how far I came to make sure that I would be around for him. Like it's easy. Like that is the huge motivating factor. But
Yeah,
again,
man.
man,
Mad props to you.
I didn't want to get too emotional, but I wanted to make sure that we got that in, man, and I appreciate
I
you for it.
appreciate it greatly, man. For real.
So now let's completely change it and let's go back to the food because I think it's gotten a little too emotional. So let's go back to the restival and let's talk about this insane food that you and your friends attacked.
Oh yeah. So cool thing is like, okay, so let's backtrack a little bit to make this even more of a special conversation about this trip, right? So again, when it was first said, it was me and Alex Shelley, and I was excited about doing that. Now, I didn't have the I didn't have the usually requisite amount of time to plan this trip out because like I got it kind of got let on short notice that I was booked for this thing, which is no fault of anybody. I know it's a lot planning these things, and there are so many shows going on. So I get word about doing this thing with Alex Shelley, and originally the idea was that Limitless was running, and I work for Limitless regularly, so the idea was, hey, we'll split everything between the two. However, because I didn't get back with Limitless in enough time, because Action didn't wasn't able to let me know until like 2 weeks before. Um, they were already the budget was kind of tax out, so I still was able to work it out with them because my wife kind of talked me into it, and it was like one of those things where it was like, okay, well, came down a little bit on this, and they can't necessarily split the flight, but I'll still come down. We'll just make it work. And then it became my wife's recommendation was like to my friends to like, hey, let's drive down all together and make it a trip instead of flying. And to that they said, hell no, we're not driving that far. Hell no. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll still figure it out. And then they invite us over one day, and as an early Christmas slash birthday present, they invite us over for dinner, and they just give us these envelopes, and inside these envelopes we had two Delta cards, $150 each, and then also TSA pre-check, which I still haven't gotten mine. I'm pissed about it. But so they did all this for us. So I have great friends, and they also bought their own tickets to come and do this trip with us, with me and my wife. So we used the Delta cards towards part of the fees, and we made it a trip. And of course, the Alex Shelley match didn't happen, but we still had a good time. We get there, we do a whole bunch of witch stuff because Salem's nearby, so we drive to Salem. We got this hotel, we drive to Salem, and some of it was fun, some of it wasn't. But a lot of it was cool stuff. A lot of it was cool stuff. Like we got to, see the graveyard and like where the witches were hung at the time and things like that, and learn a lot of cool things. We did a ghost tour. But in between all of this stuff, there was always food. Between each of these stops was a food stop. We went to a breakfast place that was pretty cool. It was all right. Had some stuff that we never had before. Lemon ricotta, blueberry pancakes, and I think my friend got like I forget what it was called. Um, it was like a tomato sauce with like eggs in it and meatballs. It's like a Middle Eastern breakfast deal, but I don't remember what it's called. But it was actually pretty good. From there, we actually ended up going. This was probably my favorite place was Boston Burger. So Boston Burger is like this cool like they do burgers, specialty burgers, and so we went there, and it was a little expensive, but I think it was worth it. Like there was four of us, so we all just got four different burgers, and we ended up kind of like splitting them between each other, tasting a little bit of each. Like my wife got the Elvis burger, I think it was called the King, so it was like peanut butter and banana and bacon, which is one of my favorite combinations. I got the Thanksgiving burger, which is called the Privilege, or not Privilege. That'd be an ironic name, though. The Pilgrim burger, and it was basically like stuffing and cranberry sauce, and it was a turkey burger, and that was pretty good. My my friend got the Sophie, which was like my favorite, and it was prosciutto and fig jam and goat cheese and arugula, and that thing was awesome. And then my other friend Stephanie, she got, I don't remember the name of hers, but it was like macaroni and cheese and barbecue on a burger, and it was pretty good too. So we got that, and then I think we probably got ice cream. We got ice cream almost every day we were there.
Of course you did. You had to.
Yeah. So we went to like Ben and Jerry's once, and I've never been to an actual Ben and Jerry's. Obviously, I've gotten Ben and Jerry's from the grocery store, like pints, but I've never actually been to a Ben and Jerry's, and that was better than the actual pints. I know it's the same ice cream, but something about it, I don't know.
It's fresher.
Maybe, man. We got. I think my friend got like a banana split, which was wild. He got like four different ice creams. I got like two different ice creams with like a waffle cup that was also covered in chocolate and sprinkles and all this stuff. I'm trying to think like the if there's anything else I'm leaving out food wise. I just said Ben and Jerry's. uh, oh yeah, we got pizza. It was okay. Yeah, actually, it was a place that I've been wanting to go to for a while. It's called Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza, but I thought I kind of went in with expectations of it being fantastic, and it was just okay. So but yeah, and then like the last day, our flights got like delayed and then canceled, and then all kinds of crap. So we ended up at the airport in LaGuardia for like 5 hours, which sucked, and we ended up spending like $50 on airport food.
Wait, why were you in LaGuardia for flights?
So yeah, it was weird the way our flights was set up. LaGuardia was our connecting flight for some reason,
I wish you had
and
told me that.
yeah,
I would have fucking met up with you.
yeah, maybe we could have got some better food than the airport food we spent $50 on.
You definitely would have. My wife grew up in Queens. We definitely would have gotten you better food. A hundred
Oh man,
percent.
it was horrible. But we
Anytime
did.
you're up there, yeah.
I
Next time,
will.
just
But
let me
like
know.
we did have some fun. Like we played the game that's on your phone. What's it called? Heads up. And we were just kind of going crazy in the airport waiting for our flight. And I ended up like knee dropping my friend in the head. That was great. Um, he was supposed to be a hurdle, or the it was like acted out was the game, and the topic that we had to act out was hurdle, and so he gets down on all fours, and I'm gonna jump over him. I didn't jump over him. His back was curled like a cat. Okay, he needs to work on that, and the back foot tripped over his hip, and then my front knee lands on his head, and then my knee smashes into the ground, and it hurt. But hey, the flight attendants that were nearby, they got a good laugh out of it. So.
Nobody questions anything when there are professional wrestlers involved.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't think they knew that we were professional wrestlers, but they probably thought they were a little bit different.
I mean, the green hair might give it away.
Maybe. And my friend over there, he's just a fat curly headed fuck. So
Hey, listen.
if you get, hey, if you know, you know. That's the reference. Maybe some people will get that.
I hope everybody gets the reference. By the way, hi Amber. You keep walking by.
She's waving in the background, or not the background. I guess she's over in the side ground, over in the side. I think she's walking over. There she is. Hey, we look like Christmas lights.
With the green and the red. There you go.
Yeah.
So.
Oh wait, I got one more. One more.
All right.
So the first, before we got to our trip, we actually were in Atlanta because we were flying out of Atlanta, and so we stayed at a hotel, and then we were looking for food in there, and I took them all to their first Korean barbecue place. So like real Korean barbecue, not like order and they bring it to you, but like actual like you grill it yourself.
Nice.
And so I love Korean barbecue. My wife was a big fan of it. I think for the most part they were all fans of it. Um, it's a lot of meat, a lot of meat.
Yep.
And so if you're a carnivore, and then also we got ice cream again because there was Ginny's, which is one of my favorite ice cream places ever. And it was my birthday actually on this day, so because of that, Ginny's gave me free ice cream, which is also fantastic.
Free ice cream is the best ice cream.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out Ginny's, find Ginny's. They sell it like in Publix and stuff. If you have Publix up there and Kroger.
I've never been in the
No.
Publix
Oh
ever.
man, if you need a Publix in your life, if you ever go on a trip and you find a Publix, go to it. Go to the bakery, do yourself a favor, get cookies and cakes, get all that stuff.
That's what that's what I feel about Wegmans. Have you ever been in a Wegmans?
Into a what? A
Oh, what?
Wegmans?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen a bunch of those, of course, like because I've done a lot of shows up north, so yeah,
So it's probably a similar feeling.
yeah.
I will check it out. Matt keeps trying to get me to go down to an action show in Georgia. So if I get
You
down,
should.
well, that's the plan. So if I come down, I'm gonna have to. I'll meet up with you, and you can take me to a Publix and
Oh
wherever
yeah,
else we're gonna go
because
eat.
at Action we actually have a fan who always brings me like cakes, like entire cakes from Publix.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well, if I come down to Georgia, I'm you're gonna have to, show me around.
we can do it.
All right. You heard it here. It is on record. And when next time you're up in New York, you you have a tour guide.
I'm gonna get a booking in New York so you can take me to a cool food place, or maybe a bunch of them.
A bunch of them. You got it. 100%. You we
Pizza,
got you.
because like I've yet to have good New York pizza.
Yeah, I'll take you into the city. We'll get you good New York pizza.
Okay,
We'll I will actually go into Brooklyn just to get you pizza, and I hate Brooklyn.
fair enough. I appreciate that.
Yes, you are worth that, my friend. You are worth that. The only other person I was willing to go into Brooklyn for, and this is swear to God, was John Davis.
Oh yeah.
The only other person. He was supposed to wrestle in Brooklyn, and he was coming up, and I was like, all right, I will go to Brooklyn to hang out with you, John. And then the show
Nice.
got moved to New Jersey, and I was quietly relieved.
Do you like New Jersey better than Brooklyn?
I live closer to New Jersey than I do Brooklyn.
Okay.
So I live right on the New Jersey border. So
Man,
it's
it's for me like you take me out of like okay, so once I get past like I don't know Tennessee or something, I'm checked out. Like I'm a Southern boy. I don't sound like it, but dude, like the cities and stuff. Once I get up there, like it's I don't know. I can't deal.
so
People are too close together. There's too much street and concrete. I like trees. You know what I mean?
I have
Like
I
I
have
don't know.
well, actually I don't have a single tree on my property, but but I have more leaves when the fall hits than anything. It's really annoying.
Where the hell are the leaves coming from if you don't have a tree?
My neighbors, all my neighbors have
Oh.
trees, so all their leaves fall onto my property. It's hilarious.
Tell them to blow that shit off.
No, we have a fence, so it works out.
uh,
But no, I mean that's what the landscapers are for.
that's fair enough.
It works out. But no, I live in the suburbs. I don't live within the city limits.
See, I've
So
never been there though, so that's the one thing I always say is like people talk about like upstate New York and stuff like that, and like I've only been to the city, and the city would drive me crazy. I'd never be able to live there.
so I work in the city. I work in the Bronx, but I live in what so people would call it upstate. It's more like it would be more suburban than upstate. Like upstate New York is can be the sticks. So there
Oh,
there would be no difference between Tennessee and some parts of upstate New York.
okay.
Like
I mean, I could deal with that probably.
yeah, there are definitely parts of upstate New York that there would be no difference between the deep south and upstate New York.
Gotcha.
Yeah, very very much no different. Uh, I can handle the city after working there for 15 years, but I don't. I like to visit and get out. I don't like to be
Don't
around that
blame you.
many people. But at the same time, I teaching there is kind of cool. Like all my students have gotten very much into wrestling. They found out about this because I was teaching in remote settings. So they're like, "Oh my god, you're a nerd." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've kept that hidden for a really long time. Don't tell anybody." They're
I
like,
mean, we're
"Oh,
all a little bit of a nerd, right?
yeah." Well, you didn't see this the last time we did it because I was podcasting from a
No.
different room. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is my nerd layer. Like it is all like I have more wrestling stuff on this wall too. Like I have pretty much every micro brawler that pro wrestling tease has ever put out. I am
Hey,
just
we all have our things.
listen. If it's the worst thing I do, then I guess I'm doing okay. That's
There
the
you
way I
go.
look
There
at
we
it.
go.
Uh so let's talk about this run on the independents because obviously the first time we talked, you really weren't sure what your career had left. It looks like this resurgence has really got you the fire lit under you again, and you look happy in the ring again, which to me is awesome. So, kind of talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be transparent as possible. I don't know that I still don't know what's gonna happen. You know, like I don't remember if the last time we talked was before or after my WWE stint.
Before, way before.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So you know, WWE happened. It was a thing, and
Yeah, I was gonna
and
leave that alone.
yeah, and then like you know, you come off of that and you come back into the world of independent wrestling, and it's like, all right, well, what do we do now? So yes, I'm having fun when I'm in there, but there's also the other part of me that's like, you know, I'm a 38-year-old man with a 14-year-old daughter and a wife, and you know, I have a life. And could I be on the independent scene and make tons of money enough to support my life, my family now? Yeah. Um, but that would require me being gone so much, and at this point, my body as well. I like feeling good, and you don't always feel good when you're wrestling so much. And so while I do have fun when I'm in the ring, things are still questionable as to what the future holds. I don't know if you saw it, but like on Twitter, I think I pretty much gave myself the rest of the year to kind of figure things out. And I didn't say the word retirement or quitting because I've done that before, and you know, I just don't know. So it's more of a thing of like I set a goal, and my goal is to basically have a contract of some sort that gives me guaranteed money to support my family with. And if I don't reach that goal, it's okay. But I don't know that I will pursue this at least on a full time basis and put as much effort to it as I have in previous years, basically. Um, that being said, the matchups that I've had so far have been awesome. Like some of the matchups that I have that haven't even been announced yet are awesome, and I'm having a blast doing it. Um, it's just a matter of you know just being realistic with life and setting your priorities and kind of figuring stuff out. You know.
Definitely, that makes sense. What What do you think your next steps are to try to attain that contract?
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a matter of making the right moves, quality over quantity for me. You know, it's a matter of getting quality matchups and going out there and doing what I do and putting my effort into those matchups. It's not for me. It's not about staying uber busy all the time because again, doing that one, I'm gone too much and I go stir crazy. And two, my body at this point, I just don't want to put myself through that. So yeah, it's just when I do have the opportunity to go out there and do my thing, is like do it to the best of my ability and show out. And um, I mean, there's still discussions that are being had with people in places. There's still opportunities that are out there that I know are out there. It's just a matter of doing the steps I need to do to make it happen and be 100% official on those things. So we'll see what happens with it. I'm optimistic, and you know, we'll see what happens. But the main focus right now is that, and also with the tag team with Drake, and possibly doing that on a bigger stage is the end goal.
That would be fantastic. I mean, in the opener, I told you how I feel about that tag team. I was pretty
Yeah,
honest
that's
about
the
it.
end goal, you know, because um, I've said it before. He said it like, you know, as a tag team, we just kind of feel like we stand out in a different way than we do as singles performers. Not that we're not great singles performers, it's just that as a tag team, I think we're even better, and we both feel that way. And I think we have a little bit more to offer as a tag team than we do as singles performers, actually. And so we'll see what happens.
I,
Fingers crossed.
I think that especially nowadays where you see so many tag teams that are just two singles wrestlers thrown together as opposed to you being a natural tag team. I think it's a
Yeah.
no brainer.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Like, all we need is the right opportunities, people to see it. And, you know, um, maybe, I mean, obviously, like, he works for AEW. That's no secret. So, you know, maybe Tony Khan will jump on that boat and jump on the bandwagon. We have a matchup coming with the Briscoes in February, so that's wild, and that'll be one that everybody should look out for. That's just another chance for us to prove, how good of a tag team we are, and that's just what I'm talking about. You said, what do I need to do in order to achieve those goals? Well, that's right up there, right?
That
Show out with the Briscoes and let everybody talk about that.
that February doesn't happen to be in New Jersey, does it?
What's that?
That that Briscoes match doesn't happen to be in New Jersey, does it?
It does not. It is
Oh,
it's for Warrior, which is right. It's in Illinois. I think it's kind of near Chicago.
got me real excited for a minute because I'm gonna see the. I'm assuming I'm gonna see the Briscoes when I go to GCW, and I was really
Uh,
hoping that you were gonna end up in Atlantic City. Well, I was in Atlantic City, and I was like, oh well, that's gonna get interesting really quickly.
well, you never know. You never know. It could still happen. Who knows?
That that would be a real. That would go from a real interesting weekend to a very real interesting weekend. Uh, so I want to kind of end this, and we're going to leave this open ended because you're always going to be welcome to sit down at my table, and you know that. Uh, what advice would you give to younger wrestlers that maybe you wish you had gotten uh, from someone like yourself that's kind of been where you wanted to go, and now you're kind of trying to reach back and get that contract again, but at the same time you said it yourself that you don't want to take a million bumps. You're trying to kind of keep that bump card to that right number because you know that you have that limit. What advice are you giving?
There's a few things I could say. It's like, of course, have your backup plan because most wrestlers do not have one. Two is stay humble because a lot of people tend to get a big head and they too soon. It's all too much too soon. And then three is just travel and go to as many places as possible and listen to as many people that actually know what they're talking about as possible. Don't listen to everybody, but listen to the people know what they're talking about, and you can usually decipher that. It's not that hard. You have a lot of fake people who like to boast about how much they know. They don't really know anything, and you can usually tell these people by what they've done, right? And so, but there are plenty of genuine people out there who have been there, who have done that, who've done things that, you know, many others only dreamed of, and they are more than willing a lot of times to give you advice. And so, yeah, just listen to them.
I truly appreciate you taking time to be the first guest, Anthony. It
Of
means the
course.
world to me. You know, I mentioned it on Twitter before when you, JD, and John Davis make your dream 6-man tag. I still, I'm asking, can I please be the second manager? I know Amber's going to be the first, but can I please be the second manager that night? Just once. I just
We'll see
need
what we can work out.
I
It's like
need to
we first got to
experience it.
find somebody. We first have to find a promoter who is willing to f around and find out. Once we find that, and they do f around and find out, well, everybody else will find out, and we'll let you find out, and you can maybe come beside us, come be beside us.
I appreciate that, and somebody really needs to fuck around and find out because
Fuck around and find out, man.
it
Just
would
find
be
out.
that would be the most fun, and that would be the most interesting diner trip ever. Please, next time you see John Davis, ask him about the old man in the New Jersey diner because I really thought John Davis was going to beat the man that was hunchback. It was
Nice. I will.
hilarious. It was
I
like
will.
3 o'clock in the morning. It was great. It was. I felt like I was finally a part of something, and it was amazing.
I'll ask him. I'll ask him.
But plug all your social media for me and get everything out there for us.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm kind of that old guy now. You know, I at least I feel like it. I'm just not as up to date as some are, but like I still do the Twitter and Instagram. Those are probably the two most prevalent ones I use. But the handle on that is Anthony Henry. That's Antny Henry. I mean, you can be more welcome to send me a request or something on Facebook. It'll probably stay there for 2 years, but you know, you can still check it out and try. That's about it. Yeah, nothing else. Those are the only ones I use.
All right. And you can follow me at capital underscore
Got it.
O2SITDOWN. That's capo underscore circle to sit down. Uh, Thank you for listening to the inaugural episode of the Squared Circle Sit Down. I'm gonna continue to bring you the best interviews on the independent scene, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're gonna bring Anthony back. We're gonna bring Amber on with him next time,
Oh, gang,
and
gang.
and it's going to be absolutely awesome. Thank you for coming for this ride with me. Everybody have a great night.
Peace out.
Dude, thank you so much.
No worries, dude.